From the YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California, it's Coach's Rise time with Coach C. Collins.
It starts. 3, 2, 1.
Coach's Rise time.
Yep, it's about that time again. It's Coach's Rise time, where I talk a little bit of basketball, a little bit of insight on the AAU side, try to give tidbits, little things like that to maybe help you out. If you are new to this channel, thanks for checking me out. It's much appreciated. I will have links to the main show, which is About That Life podcast, down in the bottom. Hey, if you're here and you're not a Ghost Watcher, you actually want to subscribe and support, please do. Do the HBO special, Help a Brother Out special. Shout out to the Poor Man's Podcast, because I did not create that. He did. And, please feel free to leave any comments, any tidbits, message me directly. If there's something you want me to talk about or address on the AAU side or any part of the basketball side, please feel free to let me know. So for today's topic, I want to talk about, as an AAU organization, right? Let's go to square one. I know a lot of people out there in AAU basketball are always looking for advice, looking where to start, looking like, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, how do I move on an upward trend? And then I could tell you my program, YBA, it has been thriving for nearly 20 years. I wasn't the founder. The founder's Ken G. I just became, kind of co-director / coach / a little bit of everything. And my role evolved over time. So let's talk about this journey real quick. So you want to start an AAU program. Most of it starts from daddy ball, right? A couple dads get together and want to make a super team. Then they go out there and get on the road. Now let's say your team evolves from 1 team to 3 teams, 3 teams to 6 teams, 6 teams to 12. Next thing you know, you got 25 plus teams, maybe even upwards to 70 teams, right? Get this crazy number. Now you're this huge organization, known all over your state, known all over the country. Move. You're pushing a lot of things out. You're making a lot of things happen. Now your organization is borderline a corporation, right? You are a basketball factory. Now, at this point, you have a multitude of coaches, multitudes of trainers, maybe even have your own facility like we're blessed enough to have. Now, let's talk about what that entails. What you will realize once you get to that platform, once you get to that position in the AAU basketball world, you are going to deal with hate internally and externally. And you have to figure out how to maneuver around it. And that's basically what today's topic's talking about. You being an AAU director or leader of your program, doesn't even have to be a director. You could be just a really great, charismatic coach, and you're going to receive some hate because of that. And how you maneuver around it, how you deal with it, it's different for everybody. I can only tell you my experience and what I do, and maybe a couple of tips that I tell you might be able to help you, whoever's listening or whoever's checking it out on YouTube right now. So one thing I could tell you that I for sure do, it's kind of like a combination. I want to say 3 things, maybe 4. The first thing is you ignore it. You honestly got to just stay focused on your task, and you got to ignore anything that happens internally, externally, outside of if it affects you directly. People are going to talk about you with success. My boy, Coach Ted, and check him out. Shout out to Coach Ted. If you check out the About That Life podcast, he was a guest host and had a couple of shows. He told me a funny saying. He said, the brighter the light, the bigger the shade. You know what I mean? And that just becomes true of kind of anything in life. Obviously superstars, celebrities deal with it on a daily. They deal with all kind of crazy hate. Look at LeBron James, right? I'm not here to compare myself to anything like that. What I'm simply saying is you have to learn to just move forward and ignore external and internal hatred, shade on any side. The second thing is have a clear business plan. Have a clear business plan, stick to your convictions, stick to the way it is, and don't compromise it, as best you can. If you're an AAU club that's about an AAU basketball club that's more about helping the community, helping impoverished youth, stick with that. That means you're probably going to fundraise. That means you're probably going to be a coach that pays a little more out of pocket. You're going to do things that, the bigger fish, so to speak, aren't going to do, right? And be okay with that. You know, be able to sleep with that and find joy in that. Some business models, very similar to what I would say a West Coast Elite, their model is more about, you know, pushing out a certain product, a certain caliber of athlete. They are big on marketing, and they're masters at marketing. So their brand is more on the marketing side and making sure your athlete gets the most success possible. There's all kind of different ones. I'm just telling you kind of a couple of general ones. But be okay and be comfortable with whatever your business model is. And obviously it will evolve over time depending on which way you lean towards. But just be comfortable with it. And to me, one of the biggest things and the last things is have integrity. Have integrity with yourself and your convictions and be able to sleep at night. At the end of the day, you got to be able to look in the mirror and you got to be comfortable with the decisions you made, no matter good, bad, or indifferent. If that's something you can sleep at night and rest your head knowing you're good with, then do it. You know what I mean? Now, it's not for me to judge or say if it's right or wrong or anything like that. I can only say my anecdotal individual experience. These are the things I try to model myself after. I don't try to make myself look a certain way. I don't try to make myself look like I'm infallible because that's bullshit. I'm human. I make mistakes and I learn and I evolve from it. I'm very internal. So my advice to you guys listening or checking this out, especially you AAU directors or coaches who, let's just say you're starting out or you're not quite where you want to be, just stay the path, man. Don't worry about growing it fast. Take it each kid at a time. You do the best you can. Understand you're going to deal with some pitfalls. But once you get to this mountain, once you get to this top, and this is the guys that I've talked to on my show, like a Lowe from the vice president of Oakland Soldiers, shout out to Lowe, like a KP, director of Arsenal, you know, the directors at Lake Show, my guy Benny, hope you healing up, shout out to you, bro. He coached my son. Any of these big, you know, organizations, West Coast Elite, right, Ryan Silver, all those guys, you're going to deal with some level of shade. It's just inevitable. But how you deal with it, how you know, let it affect you is ultimately what I think will make or break your AAU club. Of course, there's the AAU clubs that, you know, they're going to deal with it head on. You know, you throw shade at them, they're going to throw it back at you. They're going to talk mess on social media. I kind of cringe when I see some of the stuff I see, like, especially when I see we're the best AAU club in the country, or they rank these kids number 1 fourth grader in the United States. I find it very strange how you can determine a 9-year-old is the best 9-year-old in the United States, considering he's only playing in one state most of the time. So, you know, when I see coaches or anything post that, like, go back on my social media, look at it. I sit there and say my team competes. I believe my team is highly competitive and a great program. Or, you know, hey, I think my teams are out here learning and growing. And one thing I always say is process is loading. Like, I will promote my guys because I believe in my guys. But very, very rarely, if I've ever said it at all, I will never say my team is the best. Oh, no. I can't make that assertion, man. You know, truth, reality is objective. How we view that reality is subjective. One person might see my team and think it's trash. Another person might see my teams and think they're amazing. That's subjective. But the wins and loss are the truth. So can we say we're the best determining on our win and loss ratio? Kind of yes and no, because there's so many AAU teams at this point. But ultimately, and my suggestion to you directors and coaches, don't let it affect you, man. Just stay on your path. Do what you know is the right thing and be okay in your convictions. Some people will try to sit here and tell you, like, do this, do that. There's going to be times where you can make some shady deals. You can do some things that can maybe, you know, put some money in your pocket. But like I said, you got to do what helps you sleep at night. That's ultimately what you got to figure out. So with all that being said, that wraps up this show. Thank you for listening. If you took a few minutes to listen, I appreciate it. Again, you know, hit that subscribe, hit that like button if you want to. If you are listening on the audio, please go ahead and hit that follow button. I promise me and Mark are going to get back together and make sure we hit out the main show about that life. Shout out to all the people that have been listening and supporting from day one. I appreciate you. There's links to the Patreon and the Podbean Patreon, all that down there below. Again, stay safe. Prayers to Ukraine. I really hope we can get through this. I know gas prices are insane, so start riding your bikes. Get an electric car if you can. But outside of that, everybody be easy and be safe.